Welcome to this week's episode of Lagniappe. I'm Rob Holbert. We got a small staff in here today. Let's go around the horn. Who's here?
I'm Ashley Trice.
I'm Scott Johnson.
And I'm Kyle Hamrick.
And here we are, just four of us today. It's we still got some folks that are snowbound or sick from the snow, maybe. Yes. I don't know. But
we're the only ones who thawed out in time, I guess.
Only ones who could brave the ice. There's still some ice on the roads. We're recording this on Thursday. It's actually a day later than we usually do because we weren't here yesterday. Mm-hmm. We had the amazing snow days here. I mean, it's kind of it's fascinating. You Kyle, and well, both of y'all grew up a little further north in the state.
Yeah.
Have y'all had a lot of snow activity in your lives?
Nothing like this. Yeah. This is easily the most snow I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other than going skiing one time in like Virginia or something, this is the most snow. I never saw this much in North Georgia.
My husband and I just kept saying over and over, I just can't believe this. I mean, I just can't believe it. I mean, it would just be at the point it became a joke because you're like, I know I've said this before, but I just can't believe how much
it just kept falling.
I think I sat there and said that 900 times the other day. I mean, we really did. We're just like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was. I kept going outside and taking pictures of the house at different levels because for some reason I thought it was going to stop snowing and like.
Well, I mean, when it does, on the very rare occasions it does snow here, it snows here for like 2 hours and then it maybe sticks for a little bit, but that's it. It's not like an all day event. I mean,
it just was like
it was like 10 hours of straight snow.
I mean,
I also kept getting up to see if it stopped or if it was speeding up or slowing down.
I mean, they had something on the news that we have now received more snow than Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2025 and Anchorage, Alaska.
That's like crazy.
I believe it. I believe it.
I mean, the only place that I've been where I've seen more snow than this was in Europe.
Yeah.
At some point, in December and January. I mean, I was in Kiev one time. A lot of snow there. But, I mean, this is like, it's crazy.
I mean, your eyes just can't believe it, too, because we're in... I mean, especially looking at it on the beach, too. I mean, I was just...
And seeing snow in the palm trees.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
all around Midtown. That's odd.
What was the final official inch total?
It was 7.5 at Mobile Airport.
I know at my house, I measured all over the yard, and we were right around 8 inches all over.
Some people were saying as much as 9.
Wow.
That looks about right from my place.
Yeah, it was amazing. I even got up today and made a snowman this morning before I came in because it's gotten mushy enough to really stick.
It wasn't very powdery snow as well. Also, not what we're used to.
No. I mean, it couldn't. It
was hard to make a snowman.
I couldn't even make a decent snowball the first couple days.
Me neither.
I threw a snowball and hit the dog, and the dog was just like didn't want to go out in the snow for like 3 hours after that.
Well, you made some snow cream.
Oh, I love.
Oh, we did too.
Yeah.
We did too.
Yeah,
I didn't do that. I wanted to do that. That would been good. It's getting dirty now. The snow's getting a little. It's not as sweet as it was.
I saw the birds have really been active too since this, and they've been. I was gonna get for our original snow cream. Our patio table had a ton of snow, and it looked like clean snow, and so I was going out there to get it, and Frank was like, "I just saw a bird take a dump and like was standing on the lawn in front of it." I was like, okay, I'm not going to make the snow cream with that.
Down on the, we live on the bay, and so we were down there. The water was like it's probably about 300 yards out. And so, or maybe at least 200 yards out, but it was so far out that you really couldn't see. I mean, I couldn't tell if there was ice or whatever, but when the snow started finally covering all the mud, I mean, at that point, it just looked like frozen tundra. Like you looked like you were out like somewhere where it was just like endless.
Siberia.
It looked like the bay was an endless field of snow is what it looked like. Yeah,
that's what I was wondering too, was in some of your pictures, was there any water out there at all, or was it just mud covered in
It's just mud covered in snow. And I mean, it took forever for the mud to get covered in snow, but then it was like, it finally did. And it was just, we sat out there all day long and just looked at it, and I don't know, it was so much fun. I had a blast.
I know. I don't feel like we're going to ever get this again in our lifetimes, but I'm glad I was alive. to witness this one, and my kids.
Back in 25, remember when the snow
so
came?
I kept telling my kids, I was like, I'll be telling my grandkids, your kids about this. You'll be telling your kids about this.
Next year, it'll probably have another blizzard. But I mean, it's the way things work, right? I know. I could do this every year. I mean, really,
once a year would be great. Now that it's starting to melt ugly, I'm like, okay, go away.
Yeah, it'll be gone this afternoon.
So it broke the record, multiple records. One was all set in like 1895.
One was in 1881 and one
century.
was 1895. Like, it was like a single snow day event and like the total snow event. So it broke both of them.
And it's the most snow we've had in recorded Mobile history.
Right.
Yes. It ever.
It's wild.
You know, the thing that fascinates me about it, and I know everybody who's listening to this had their same experiences, you know, but the thing that's fascinating is just that it came down here. It skipped most of the state and then came down here and just dumped snow on us.
Well, I mean, it came up from the Gulf. I mean, and that just never happens. It usually is coming from the north, you know, and it never makes it quite down here. And all the kids are like, oh, it'll make it, you know, up to like Clark County and
the precipitation models looked all upside down to me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it was all the snow was on the bottom of the state. And I've never seen it lined
up.
Even
like New Orleans, that's, you know, a little farther south than us, got even more,
covered.
10 inches.
Yeah. I was just fascinated that it kept going and going and going. And it snowed hard all day long. And I just kept waiting for it to stop. And then, you know, we all text each other on our, you know, we've got a group text, and it's just like, you know, when is this supposed to stop? And I think you said, like, I think it's supposed to stop at 5. I'm like, so there's 5 more hours of this? I'm like, that's going to be amazing. And then I don't think it stopped until
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
But I was
easy.
like, I mean, I will tell you, I was really heartbroken at that point. I was like,
no, I just stopped.
Don't stop.
I just wanted to keep snowing until the power goes out.
I mean, it just looked like you were in a snow globe or a, you know, or a Lexus commercial waiting for someone.
It was.
My place looked like some sort of castle in Austria or something.
Yeah,
old
it did.
1920s building.
Yeah, it did.
Snow blowing past the
I mean, it was blowing
at
at points too, like blizzard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was coming off of our roof in big sheets and stuff. It was just, it was, I don't know. I mean, I know everybody had the same experience, and just, I mean, it was so much fun to watch. I love all people's videos and stuff of like people snowboarding down Dolphin Street behind a golf cart or something. Or
hilarious.
You know, my bonus daughter was out with her dad at down in Washington Square, knee boarding down the street.
Nice.
Yeah, it just had a lot of fun. Everybody was doing that kind of stuff.
There was one that I couldn't get to capture on video because it happened like just right in front of me. This car driving down Lafayette Street, towing some kid in like a pool chair with skis on it.
Just such a great unsafe behavior. I love it. You know,
it was fantastic.
Everybody nobody was wearing helmets.
No
like,
helmets. This
good.
kid was just laid back. He was holding on to like a water ski cord.
I was amazed with how many people had like snow equipment.
Yes.
Like, where do you keep this stuff? I don't. And I have a friend who was a big ski guy, but he was skiing down his neighborhood slope. That was a crazy little video. And then we took a tube. We just had like a pool tube. And
those are the best.
Yeah, it worked extremely well. And that was a lot of fun to go tubing. We found a hill next to 3 Mile Creek.
I mean, I've seen people kayak down Selma Street when I lived in Oakley. That was a normal thing.
Yeah.
You know, before they got some of the drainage issues fixed, it was really, it was not uncommon to have people kayak down the street. But, you know, who would ever have thought that it would be snowboarding down Dolphin Street?
Yeah.
That's insane. But it just was good stuff, man. I think we definitely need this every year. It needs to happen over and over again.
It was crazy to me to see just the whole city shut down. There was no cars going out.
Even if it's just a thrust.
Right. But and then just people walking everywhere. It was quiet outside.
Yeah. God, that's the
no
thing.
Cars on
That's the thing. It was
so
quiet. It was so quiet. I know it was. And I remember in the middle of like when it was really like coming down, there's just this one pelican flying through the snow, and he just looked like what the hell am I doing?
It's like, clearly we've gone the wrong direction.
I don't have any of my friends. I'm just lost.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we watched a squirrel trying to go up one of the oak trees, and it was like the snow was all on it, and he was all like, he was like, "Hey, I'm a southern squirrel.
Yeah,
we're not used to this.
We're southern animals. We're not used to this. It is like I know. It just it was really. I mean, seriously, it's one of the most fun days I've had in as long as I can remember. We sat around and just hung out and watched the snow and had a good time.
This didn't happen when it was the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know what.
Yeah, it is.
I guess this is the new trend for Gulf of America.
It is. Well, I just want to thank whatever government agency controls the weather for doing this for us. It was so nice.
Joe Biden's last act of office.
Yeah,
was to arrange this blizzard.
Well, that was good stuff. And Brady, you've just showed up. Brady Petrie has joined us.
Any road condition update, Brady?
They are terrible from West Mobile to here.
It's the hills.
Well, I got turned around on Spring Hill, Dolphin, and Airport. So this is a great day for travel.
Well, you're a trooper for even making it in. We didn't have to risk your life to get in here.
Hey, I'll do what it takes. You know.
In other words, you're stir crazy at this point.
1,000% stir crazy.
That's why I was like, my wife's like, you going into work? I'm like, yes.
Run out of TV shows and movies to watch. I'm just done.
Yeah. I was really excited. My shrimp boots finally really came in handy too. I was like, those worked out great. Yeah, those were good. So it was a lot of fun. The most, of course, the fascinating thing was the Civic Center roof collapsing. Thank God nobody was hurt, but I just saw, it's like somebody texted me, a friend of mine texted me and just had a picture with like this dust coming up. It's like, I think the Civic Center just collapsed. And it's like,
here's the mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
What? Apparently it was pretty loud over in that area, I guess.
I want a full investigation. You guys did not account for 8 inches of snow fall in your deconstruction plan.
How many tons of snow on the dome?
It should make their job easier, but
well, I think they proved that the roof actually could not handle the weight of anything. So that was the whole reason they had to get rid of it, right? Couldn't handle the speakers and stuff hanging from the roof. It couldn't handle the snow. No. So that was a fascinating one though, and it apparently fell right in the right place. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, it just went down and in.
Yes, yeah. Well,
we were wanting an implosion. I guess we kind of got one.
Kind of got a little bit of one. It was strange stuff. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk a little more about some other things. We'll be right back.
Well, down in our Alabama town, Lagniappe Daily is on the beat. For just $6.50, it's all the news, keeping local folks in the loop. Well, Lagniappe Daily, every single morning, catching up on stories while the coffee's pouring. The local truths on every page, news for the folks of every age.
It's just $6.50 a month for Mobile's daily news, Lagniappe Daily. Get signed up now at lagniappemobile.com and help keep Mobile funky.
Well, down in our Alabama town, Lagniappe Daily's on the beat. For just $6.50, it's all the news, keeping local folks in the loop. Oh, Lagniappe Daily, every single morning, catching up on stories while the coffee's pouring. The local truths on every page, news for the folks of every age.
And we are back. So one of the things that did happen during the blizzard, Spiro Cheriogotis, the district court judge, announced that he is running for mayor. He has quit his job as a district court judge, which he was just reelected to, and he's now running for mayor. So that was not a shocker by any stretch. Everybody knew that. We had been told that his last day was Friday, which I believe you tried to call him or somebody tried to call him and said that it was Scott. When I say you were on the radio, over on podcast here. Yes, Scott tried to call and couldn't get any confirmation of that on Friday, but apparently it was his last day.
Yeah. And so I guess he rolled it out with a Facebook video.
Very well produced.
Very well produced. They're really pushing the family values, family orientation.
Yes. And
that's, you can see that clearly in the video.
He and his wife sitting down together, asking each other if they're going to do it.
Right.
And, they're going to run for mayor. His wife, Lucy Greer, is obviously one of the Greers, Greer's Greer's grocery store. So she's very well known. He's won a couple of elections locally. So this is it's not everybody. It was not a secret. By everybody knew he was running, or that was the word on the street anyway, that he was going to run.
Heavily rumored, and now it's verified. And it was a big decision for him. Especially he's been a district judge for 6 years, just reelected, like you said. But this is a decision to not continue 4 more years and get vested in the judicial retirement.
Yeah.
So he's
that's a big sacrifice for him. Honestly,
it's a very great retirement system program.
He's a young man, so he would be vested early, and that would be So that's it is interesting that he. I don't know how old Spiro is, but he's. Maybe early 40s. I think.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And so he would be a very young mayor for Mobile. Probably the youngest we've had.
And I actually think that could play into his favor. It seems like there's a little fatigue with the older candidates, so that might be an advantage for him. He'll have to be a good he'll have to be a good candidate too. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I think he's a good candidate. I definitely think he's a good candidate. I'm glad to see, that we have good choices so far. Of the announced people, we have Connie Hudson, we have Spiro. Those are 2 quality candidates, I think.
And and it's going to be.
And Lawrence Batiste said, "Yes, I am running," but then I guess he hasn't filed any paperwork or anything. So
not to our knowledge at this point. So that definitely makes the race more interesting, and it does kind of. To me, Connie Hudson and Spiro are in the same lane. They're sort of, we're going to carry on what's been going on here. We want to continue the same direction that Mayor Stimson has been going. So there is that too. There's not, it's going to be interesting how they differentiate themselves from one another.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to be focusing big on the the crime. That's where he's coming from. I think he's been frustrated it sounds like he's been frustrated as a judge, not being able to do more to prevent or to combat or prevent some of these violent trends. He's been on the back end as a judge, so I think this is his view of moving to the front lines. And as a,
that's what he said in the video, basically, that this was an opportunity to have more of an effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's another. This is going to be an interesting race all the way through. I think this year is going to get more and more. It's going to get hotter as it goes along with the race. At some point here, we're getting toward the end of January. I think that you're going to have to. Some of these people are going to have to start making their move if they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I think if you start waiting until March or April, you're going to be too far behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you?
With that.
It's just So some of these rumored names may not come to fruition. I don't know. But anyway, so moving on. So we had Scott. You got the pleasure of doing the hottest story of the week before the snow.
Yeah, after fighting off some of these other.
Yeah, I know Brady really wanted this story. You guys were like I want to do this story.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to be a gentleman about it and just throw it out there for somebody else to take. But deep down, I was really hoping Scott would just pass it off and I'd be like,
yes, yeah, because because you don't get these kinds of stories very often.
No, it's just a once in a lifetime kind of story.
It's something I've been talking about for years. Is we need. I've been more focused on the chimpanzee being around here, but we had a monkey. We had a monkey attack someone, a barista at Starbucks.
Yeah, at Tillman's Quarter, Starbucks, January 10th. It was 8:30 in the morning, and they said that she's kind of a regular, that she came through.
The monkey is, or the lady?
Yeah, both, I guess. I guess. And they come through the drive-thru, and the woman has 2 monkeys in her car. She rolls down her window. They open the drive-thru, and the monkey jumps into the windowsill and just kind of starts like gnawing on the barista's hand, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And then it starts getting harder and biting her harder, and then runs up her arm and jumps under her head and starts biting her and scratching her, and
it tore her ear up.
She had
to have stitches.
Needed
right?
stitches. Yeah, it was a pretty good cut. And there was chaos or whatever ensued inside the little drive-through area, and then another employee came around behind her, grabbed the monkey off the top of her head.
Was named what was the monkey's
Connor.
name?
Connor was the monkey's
Connor
name.
the monkey.
With a,
Apparently dressed in a pink dress, and it's a Aotis. Is that how you say it? Aotis monkey or night monkey? Or
it's one of those owl monkeys.
yeah,
Owl monkey.
night owl
Yes.
so we
monkey.
got
Owl
owls and owl monkeys attacking everyone.
If we get monkeys riding owls, then we really got problems. Yeah,
It's this monkey.
That's
with
a deleted scene from Jumanji. There.
that sounds like it.
it's monkey with these beady eyes. It
didn't. I mean, it looked fake.
Yeah, it does look fake. Yeah, and the other employee came up behind it, who was being attacked, and grabbed the monkey and then threw it out the window.
I just like the fact they threw the monkey out the window.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I
defenestrated the monkey.
Yep. Monkey defenestration.
What was
First came the deforestation. Now it's the defenestration.
I wonder if that's like any kind of is that employee training for Starbucks?
That's what I was
if creatures come through the window, are we going to do?
So you hand the customer their cappuccino, and then you toss their lesser primate out the window back at
their lesser primate.
Yeah,
and you get the tip.
Yes.
Apparently, monkey bites are a big concern, and you're like, why?
I don't want to be bitten by a monkey.
Yeah, and I didn't think about this aspect, but the health world is actually very familiar with monkey bites because of research labs. So they have a lot of experience with it. Our local health officer has experience with monkey bites. But you can catch all sorts of things like herpes B. You can rabies, monkeypox, rabies, or
I may be making that up.
There was a third one.
It's just not. It's not something you expect when you're going to work at Starbucks that day.
A snowstorm and a monkey attack in 1 week.
It's been something. So how many different? I mean, this story has been picked up all over the country.
Yeah, there's been a good. It took a while. I don't know if everyone was distracted with the inauguration or whatever pointless stuff was going up.
Yeah,
in
that's
DC.
pointless. That's not important.
So we knew it was going to get picked up, but it took like a good 4 or 5 days, and now I think I saw it on like probably a dozen national or international sites. Some site from Wales picked it up.
Yes, they've got a big monkey problem in Wales. I think, yes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was an interesting one, man. That's a fascinating story. That I mean, it was. I was texting someone in the city, and he just like offhandedly said, "Oh, by the way, it was Jason Johnson, as I should say. Jason used to like work for us, and he knows I have this fixation on the chimp story. He's like, by the way, You're right. There is somebody who has a monkey. A monkey just bit somebody out in Tillman's Corner. I'm like, give us the details. I mean, we need more details on that. Yes.
They didn't have that on the overnight recap.
No, it was not.
I was about to say, as a former journalist, I figure he would lead with that.
You would think.
Like
he
that would
definitely
be
buried the lead.
1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll let you go.
It was that. It was like, oh yeah, by the way, a monkey bit somebody at
if
a
that was
Starbucks.
the most shared story that we've ever had, I'm pretty sure it was. But
it's definitely up there.
Oh yeah, on
It's definitely
Facebook it went crazy.
It's probably the number of it's just everybody wanted to make a monkey joke too. Everybody had a monkey joke. And so it was a good time.
Yeah.
If we need more snow, we need more monkeys. I think that just really when I started out in newspaper business, my editor had a fixation on animal stories, which I think has kind of carried over for me. But I was basically the guy who got assigned every stupid animal story, and so I think they're fun to cover, man. They're fun to write about,
especially when they'll talk to you. I was so surprised. I just walked into the Starbucks. I was just talking to the clerk, and she's like, I asked her one thing, and she's like giving me pictures the next second. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, you would think Starbucks corporate would have shut that
down.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, no, we're
do
not.
not speak of that.
Yes,
you will not get your workers' comp. Yeah.
There's apparently video footage that MPD has of it.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
And
we need to put in a records request for that.
That would be worth it.
This is in the public interest.
Yeah, be worth its weight in gold. It's definitely something.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to do that. Moving along, we've got one of the things, Kyle. You're covering some of the things coming up in the upcoming session. One of the things they're talking about is red light cameras.
Yes, this is some very preliminary stuff here, but
people are going to hate this.
Spoke to Beth Lyons, who is a local lawyer who works for some of the lawmakers.
She's a lobbyist, yes. Yeah.
And she confirmed to me that indeed there was a legal notice that went out over the past few weeks for a potential bill to create some red light running cameras.
Some red light running cameras
that will catch you if you run a red light.
Cameras to capture people running red lights.
Cameras to capture people.
The cameras will not be running red lights themselves.
Yeah, well then they'll have to pay the fines that could come with this.
So this is going to be this is kind of one of those Big Brother things where people, and it is a problem around here. People run red lights constantly.
They sure do.
And I think it's probably a problem everywhere. But unless
well,
like Singapore, where you don't.
Some of the blame should be put on the timing of the lights.
Yes.
I mean, I will. There's the left turn signal at Florida Street. Like it lets two cars go through.
Yes.
Like when you're trying to get off of Spring Hill to go to, and it's just like, and there'll be a line like a mile long. I'm like, really?
Can y'all not adjust this?
But that's like a red light.
Everybody runs.
That's like a red light run from like you're just. It's not like somebody's just flying down the road and comes through the intersection like a full 2 seconds after the light turns. That's a little different.
University and airport is the worst one. That turn lane, if you ever have to travel 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it is always backed up from the Publix to that shopping center because that turn lane lasts for all of 2.5 seconds. That's it. So.
Yes, it tests it tests their patience. The one I see run, there's a couple of them that I see run on Dolphin Street and down Government Street where there's two lights like very close to one another. The one that used to be near the Winn-Dixie, now the soon to be there Aldi, but those two lights, that one at Catherine, there's two lights that are approximately 15 feet apart.
Yeah.
And people run that second one constantly. They just
rarely ever
if they make it through the first one, they always run the second one.
Yeah.
It's like, it constantly happens. And then there's another one on Dolphin. There's two places where there are lights really close to one another at Carlin and also I think
it's Fulton.
Yeah, Fulton. Yeah, and those things, people run those all the time. They run the second one. But so if we get cameras, then it's just going to be one of these things where you just get a letter in the mail says
you get a fine.
Get a fine through the mail.
Those details still have to be worked out. There has not been a bill sponsored yet to do this.
Yes.
Beth told me that they're still trying to find somebody in the local crew of lawmakers who would want to step up to the plate and get this thing done.
We're just complaining about traffic lights too. I will say that they've got to do something better with the timing on it, though. I mean, we were going across the bay like one Saturday morning early, and it took us longer to go from our house on Spring Hill Avenue because we got stopped at every single light, and there were no other cars coming from anywhere. I mean, it was a faster drive from the Bankhead Tunnel to Fairhope than it was. Not quite,
just
but
getting out of town.
Just getting out of town because of all these dumb lights.
That's insanity.
Well, speaking of dumb things, let's also talk about something I wrote about this week in my column, the business property tax. And it's something, if you own a business, you find out about this, and we just paid ours. And somebody came up to me the other day and was complaining about this, and I thought, you were right. It's something we never really bring up, but
we've been paying it for years, and it's never
22
really
years.
occurred to me what BS it is.
It is BS. I mean, it's so
just, you got to do it.
Folks if you don't own a business or you're not involved in that kind of thing, there's the business property tax, which comes from the Revenue Commission, the County Revenue Commission. You have to pay a tax on all of your equipment that you use to do your work, and that includes chairs and tables
and garbage
cans and clocks on the wall and silly stuff like that. And so you're paying tax on these things every single year.
Well, first you're paying tax on it when you purchase it.
Right. You pay a sales tax when you buy it.
Yeah.
And then you pay taxes. I mean, this table we're sitting at right now has been taxed for how many years in a row now? It's been taxed every single year.
Our two desks have been taxed for 22 years.
Yes.
And I got mine for $50 at Goodwill 22 years ago.
And I owned my desk before I came here. So yeah, I mean, those two desks, which had a total value, the paper bought for $50 between the two of them, have been taxed every single year for 22 years.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy law. And I mean, I think it's one that people will look into a little more about what, when you talk about trying to do things for small businesses, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean, when you're writing out a check for $4,000 or $5,000 for stuff that you bought years and years and years ago, I mean, we don't have new equipment every year. And it's just, it's nuts, man. They need to.
So you end up paying multiple times over. I mean, like you said, you're probably paying more in taxes than you even
on some things, on some things. But even if that, I mean, you're already starting out, you've got taxed 10% on it with a sales tax.
Right.
And then if you're getting, it's not a huge percentage every year, but if you pay for it for 10 years, you're probably getting up to the point where you've paid way over,
it's crazy,
50% of the value of the thing in taxes. And I mean, it's not like your couch doesn't sit in your living room and you get taxed for it every year. But if you've got a couch at the office, like that one sitting over there, you got to pay for it every year.
Yeah. I've heard of occupation tax. I've never heard of this tax.
It's in 37 states that do this.
That's crazy.
So this is not local to Mobile County. It's something that happens, and it's really something our folks in the legislature ought to look at. But I doubt they will, because it's money that comes in, and I'm sure that everybody wants it.
Pretty easy money.
Yeah, it's something special. Well, that's all we got for this week, folks. Maybe a little truncated here because of the snow, but we'll be back next Thursday. Hopefully, we'll not be snowbound at that point.
Or maybe we do hope that.
I don't know. We need to get back to work. A couple days off. It's a little rough, but I think everybody.
Well, they're already saying the next one's going to be February 6th.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Well, I do want to say thanks to all you guys sitting here, the reporters sitting here. Y'all did a great job through the snow, and I mean, we were all working from home, but y'all were all really working a lot and getting a lot of stuff done, and took good care and to let folks know what was going on. So thanks a lot, and we'll see y'all next week. Thank you.
The Lagniappe is a Something Extra publishing production. Executive producers are Rob Holbert and Ashley Trice. Music is by Some Pulse Sound and Electro Animals. Only subscribers like you have access to this podcast. Tell your friends they can sign up at my.lagniappemobile.com. For advertising opportunities, please call 251-450-4466.